Okay, so looking at this here, so are there any questions on problems 1 through 4 you want to look at first, or we want to look at? Yes, no? Write the equation, write the given equation slope-intercept form. Well, slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the, so our first one here, well, it told us the slope is, so I plug it in for m. So we have negative 1/4 x plus negative 8, or just, and that's it. Bless you. Well, this other one here, so we do the same thing. Y equals, well, the slope told us 4x plus 5, because that's the y-intercept. Questions on this here so far? Okay. You ready for the next ones? Yes? No questions on this here?
Number 1, why is there a plus between the negative 8?
Well, we don't really say plus and minus, because plus negative 8 is the same as minus 8, yeah. Plus negative 8 and minus 8 are the same thing. So we say minus 8 instead of plus negative 8. Questions on this here? So these two here are the exact same thing, they just were given different numbers. Yes? You're welcome. So 5 and 6, we're doing the exact same thing, except instead of given the slope and y-intercept, we're given 2 points. Now we can use the slope formula. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. x1, y1, x2, y2. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the slope, and well, since they gave me this point 0, negative 5, whenever the x value is 0, the y value of that point is the y-intercept, because the y-intercept will always be 0, comma, a number. And again, we're plugging it back into our y equals mx plus b. So for our slope, we're going to do y2, so negative 5 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we plug that point in. Now, negative 5 minus 7 is going to be negative 12. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. And negative 12 divided by negative 2, negative and negative make a positive. 12 divided by 2 is. So our slope for this equation is 6. So we'll plug it in for him. Now the y-intercept is given to us by this here because we have 0, negative 5. Whenever the x value is 0, the y value is going to be the y-intercept. So we can write it as plus negative 5. And really that's the same as y is equal to 6x minus 5. Questions on this here? We good with this here? Yes? one of these, do we want to look at 6, 7, or 8? Which one of those three do you want to look at? 8. So again, we're wanting to use, so we're given 2 points, so I'll need to use the slope formula again. x1, y1, x2, y2. So it's y2, 0, minus y1, which is 14, over x2 minus x1. Well, 0 minus 14 is, well, negative 14. Yes? Well, a negative and a negative make a, so this is over 2. Well, negative 14 divided by 2 would be, so negative 7 is our slope. So they gave us the slope of negative 7. Now, again, x value is 0. That means the y value is our y-intercept. So the y-intercept for this is 0, yes? So here I would put plus 0. Well, do I need to really write plus 0? No. And that's it there. So that's all we need to do for this here. Y is equal to negative 7x. Because since the y-intercept is 0, it doesn't add anything. It's just negative 7x. Questions on this here? So we'll look at one of these here. And the reason I just say one, because this isn't any different than the last two we did. They just gave us a graph of it. So I can look at number 10. I'm still given 2 points, aren't I? x1, y1, x2, y2. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope, and well, hey, 0, negative 5 is the y-intercept. Because it is crossing the y-axis, we can actually see that. So, well, really, for us here, y equals mx plus b. Well, I know the plus b is going to be negative 5. That's where it crosses the y-axis, yes? So now we just need the, what? Slope. Because if we have the slope, plug it in, and we're done. So I can say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, negative 5 minus 0 is just going to be, well, here negative and negative make a. I have, well, it's still going to be negative because a negative divided by a positive is still negative. 5 divided by 5 is, so this would be negative 1x plus negative 5, yes? Now, we don't normally write a multiplication of 1, so we can just write it as negative x, because that's the same thing. And then we'd say minus 5, and that's it. So these here, even though there's a graph, it doesn't change the process that we use, because we're still using those 2 points. Questions on this here? Are we good with this here? Yes? Okay. So we'll look at what's next. You ready for next? Write an equation in point-slope form from the given information. Point-slope form is our y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, for this here, did it give us the slope? Yes. It's negative 2, yes? Now we need to plug in our point. Well, we have our x1 y1. So the y1 value would be -7. The x1 value would be 5. And I think on the homework, that was it, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, we can simplify a little bit. There's a negative and negative make a positive, but that's it. Because like on the homework assignment, if it was already y minus, we just leave it as -7, because y minus -7 would be it, but that's it. Questions on this here? We need to see another one of these here. Yes. So here we would plug them in. Well, our y1 value is 5, so I'd have y minus 5 equals the slope, which is -2/3 times x minus -1. Plugged in the values of x and y, and we have this here. Any questions on this here? We're good with this here? Yes. Same thing. Write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. Now, the difference between this and what we did previously is we don't have the y-intercept. It's not told to us because we're just given 2 points. Now, what we'll do for this here, and we can do this one here, is I'm going to use this y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. But I'm going to need to find the slope. So we can call this x1, y1, x2, y2. I just picked the points. y1, y2, x1, x2. Now we're going to find the slope. So we have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now on top, a negative and negative make a. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. And 4 divided by 2 gives me. So the slope for this line is 2. Any questions on this here so far? We good with this here? Okay. I'll just plug this point in. 1, -2. So -2 would go in for y, 1 would go in for x. Now it wanted it in slope-intercept form, our y equals mx plus b. And that's what we're going to do. Well, here a negative and negative would make a positive. Negative and negative make a positive. Now over here we would distribute the 2. So 2 times x would give us 2x. 2 times -1 would be -2. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to get x or y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides because these 2 would cancel. Leaving me with y is equal to 2x minus 4. Questions on this here? Do we need to see another one of these? Yes? We good with this here? Okay. So we'll do one of these here. So this here is the exact same thing. Instead of giving us a graph, they gave us 2 points. So we can look at 17. I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2. And we're going to be plugging it into y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now I have 2 points, don't I? So I could use 6 and -2 and plug it in. So y minus -2 equals. So I don't know the slope, but I know the x value is 6, yes? So I can plug the point in. I'm just missing the slope. Now to find the slope, we're going to use the 2 points, which would be our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Questions on this here? Because once we find the slope, we're going to plug it back in for m. Now, the negative and negative would make a positive, so I would have a 3. 12 minus 6 is 6. 3 divided by 6 is positive 1/2. Any questions on this here? Okay, now we just need to get y by itself. We need to get it y equals. Well, negative and negative would make a positive. Now we're going to distribute the 1/2. Well, 1/2 times x is going to give us 1/2 x. 1/2 times negative 6 is going to be negative 3. What do we need to do to get y by itself? We're going to subtract 2 from both sides, and these would cancel, leaving me with y is equal to 1/2 x minus 5. And that's it for this here. Questions on these here? We'll come back to these later, those two. I want to look at these first. Write the equation of a line parallel to the given line that and passes through the given point. So for these here, we're still going to be using our y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, our point slope form. Now, one of the things they gave us was the point. This line is going to go through the point 1, 2. So this is our x1, y1. So the y1 value is 2, and the x1 value is 1. So I plug that point in because it's going to go through that point that is a point on the line. So we would use it as our x1, y1. Now, if two lines are parallel, they have what? The same slope. Lines that are parallel have the exact same slope. So if this line is parallel to the line we want, so its slope is negative 5, the slope for the line that we're finding will also be negative 5, because if they are parallel, they have the exact same slope. Now we do exactly what we just did on the last one. We're going to get y by itself. So are there any questions before we move on to this here? Does that throw another marker? We good with this here? Okay. Well, here we just have y minus 2. Now here we can distribute the negative 5. Negative 5 times x will be negative 5x. And negative 5 times negative 1 is going to be plus 5. Now we need to add 2 to both sides. Negative 2 plus 2 will cancel, leaving me with y is equal to negative 5x plus 7. And that's the equation of a line that is parallel to the given line, the line that we were given, and passes through the point 1, 2. Questions on this here? Are we good with this here? So it's very similar to what we just did on the previous ones, except that we had to find the slope from the line that was given. So if two lines are parallel, they have the exact same slope. Now, if two lines are perpendicular, they have opposite reciprocal slopes. Change and flip. Change and flip. So we change the slope and flip it. Now we're still using our y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now they gave us the point the line passes through. It passes through the point negative 4, negative 1. So that means here, y minus negative 1 is equal to, well, our slope times x minus x1, x1, y1. That's our point. And we can plug it in. Now, again, since these are perpendicular, they have opposite reciprocal slopes. So the slope for the first line was 4/3. So if it's perpendicular, we change the sign and flip it. So since it was positive, it's now going to be negative. 4/3, if we flip it, is going to become what? 3/4. So for the line perpendicular to it, since the slope was 4/3, it's now negative 3/4. We changed and flipped it. Now we need to get y by itself. Well, here a negative and negative would make a positive. Here a negative and negative would make a positive. So I have y plus 1 equals. We have to distribute the negative 3/4. Well, negative 3/4 times x will be negative 3/4 x. Negative 3/4 times positive 4 will be negative 3. Negative 3/4 times 4 will be negative 3 because the 4 and 1/4 will simplify. Now we're almost done. We still need to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. These will cancel. And what I'm left with is y is equal to negative 3/4 x minus 4. And that's it with this here. Any questions on this here? Any questions on any of this here? Okay. So looking at these here, tell whether x and y have a positive, negative, or no correlation. So how about 26? What do you think? No correlation. They're making a circle. How about 27? Negative, because they kind of make a line and they're going down. And the last one would be, because they make a line, not a straight line, but it's uniformly close to a line and increasing. And that's it. That's all we have to do on these here. Find the missing value of each point. So the first one is some value, comma, 50. So the y value is 50. Well, the only one where that's at is right here, and that would have an x value of 100, because at the point 100, comma, 50 would be our point. Yes? So let's look at the next one. Well, it tells me I have a y value of 60. So the x value would also be 100. Now the next one, they tell me I have an x value of 50, so the y value would be close to about 9. It's close to 10. Now the last one tells me I have a x value of 20, so the y value would be 30. Questions on this here? Would be the exact same. Common difference in each arithmetic sequence. Well, the common difference is the second term minus the first. So second term minus the first. So that would be 6 minus 3. And 6 minus 3 is 3. Yes.
Angel gets done early.
You're welcome. So let's look at the next one. So this here, I would take the second term and subtract it from the first. Well, 2 minus 4 is going to be negative 2. And that's all we do here to find the common difference. Second term minus the first. Find the next 3 terms in the arithmetic sequence. Well, the first thing I need to do is find the common difference. So I can take the second term minus the first. That gives me negative 1. And then I apply it. So do negative 2 minus 1, which would be negative 3, because the common difference is going to be the same. So we're just going to keep subtracting 1 or adding -1 to the next, to get the next term, the following terms. Questions on this here? So we would do the same for this here. Now 65 minus 60 would give us 5. So I'm adding 5 to get the next term in the sequence. So 75 plus 5 would be 80, 85, and 90. Questions on this here? We're good with these here? Yes? Well, that's it.